G'day, I'm Neil and my handle is Wiley11. I'm just going to put my disclaimer here. Whatever I do and say on these videos is well-intentioned and well-meaning advice. I accept no liabilities whatsoever for any disclosures. If you take some advice or act on something that I'm saying on these videos, you do so entirely at your own risk. I'm doing it based on my experience. These videos are my attempt to give back to YouTube for the help and assistance that YouTube has given me. So once again, you follow along or follow advice from these videos entirely at your own risk. Okay, and if you're not happy to do that, click this off and off you go. Because this is purely my attempt to give back to YouTube, as I said, for the help and advice that I have received out of YouTube. So this is just my little attempt to give back. If you're happy to follow along at your own risk, buckle up, sit in. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome back. This is kind of an update video. I don't know whether I've said it yet, but I've just lost my mum, and it's a little bit raw. She's had a long battle with cancer, 20 odd years of it, and early this year some problems arose that no one recognised as being really serious, and by the time they worked out it was really serious, it was too late. So we lost her just before Christmas. It's there's kind of how the hell did they miss it and all this sort of stuff going on, but look, at the end of the day, Mum's fight's over. She's at peace and I love her a lot. So thanks for bearing with me. I've been offline. There's a few projects that are kind of in situ. But today I had an interesting problem. And it's interesting because I've actually lost quite a bit of weight. Over the last sort of 13 weeks or so, maybe 10 weeks, give or take, I've been dropping weight. And it's because I had focus on other things other than snacks and stuff like that, because normally my problem is that when I get stressed I go to the fridge and eat something. That's been a problem of mine for a long time. I actually got onto these little churros sausages. They're just like little churros cigars, only they're a sausage, and they're completely packed with hot. And what I've done is, whenever I feel like eating a snack, I've gone to the fridge and grabbed one of them. And beautifully, there's bugger all calories in them, and they stop you wanting to eat. So I've been doing that. I've been eating those. And interestingly, I've dropped a lot of weight, because my snack has been something that's got zero or next to zero calories in it. Also, I got some work, and being on my feet and working in a hot warehouse has also contributed to the weight loss, and taking my lunch, not buying my lunch, but taking my sandwich, having a cup of tea and a sandwich at lunchtime. I was dropping in the job 1.5 kilos and rehydrating at night and putting on 1 kilo. So I was, pretty much dropping 500 grams, half a kilo, every time I went to that job. But then I'd binge eat somewhere with Leonie, and we'd put it back on a bit, and take it off again, and put it back on. So the weight kind of went up and down a bit like a yo-yo. And then of course there was all the stress with Mum, and more stress, and then I couldn't concentrate on everything, and just things sort of went a little bit off the rails. So I took a lot of stuff off and put a bit of stuff back on. Alright, so what's happened, I wanted to share with you my problem, and my problem was I went to the cupboard and there are only like 2 pair of shorts I've got that actually fit me. So I'm not working and I don't have any money. I've spent a lot of money being with my sister and going up there and, you know, just being with my family, and it's pretty much depleted all the funds that I earned in the job, and you know, there's just not a lot left. So rather than buy new clothes, what I'm going to do is take you guys on a little journey and show you how to recycle some of your old clothes when you lose weight. And I think that'll be interesting to some of you blokes. That one of my skills is that I know a little bit about sewing. I'm not an expert, but I know enough to get myself out of trouble. I sew up my clothes when they're tattered and torn and broken. I get the needle and thread out and sew them up. To me, it's just part of maintaining your gear. You know, you don't let it rip and fester and turn into a dirty great long tear or something, and then you've got to chuck it away. If you get a little hole, you just darn it, put it back. If you done it properly, you know, it's there, but it's really hard to pick it unless someone's really looking for it. So I guess I was taught to sew by Grandma. You know, she was always sewing. She was always doing something. And I watched her a lot, and I picked up a few tips, and I gave it a crack and found I was okay at it. I'm not an expert, but I can do enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a couple of my favourite pair of dress drill shorts, and I'm going to run a couple of pleats into the waistband and bring the waist in so that they're going to sit on me instead of falling down around me bloody backside showing off my tradie crack, which is what they're currently doing, because I've dropped quite a bit of weight. Now at this point I'm going to pause this. I'm going to show you a photo montage of my tummy from 110 or 112 kilos. I think it started as I was taking this montage, and right now I'm 102 kilos, so I've dropped 10 kilos. Now that's pretty significant, and you're going to see that in this next little montage. Now let me stress that weight loss is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Okay, I've come from 165 kilograms 8 years ago to this. Okay, I was 165. I died. Some of you might know that, but it wasn't 8 years ago. I died a couple of years ago, and I came back from death. But a lot of it was my lifestyle choices, and changing my lifestyle meant changing my weight. It meant that I started to do things like ballroom dancing with my wife, bushwalking with my mate, and that was it. That was enough. Like, I'd get out every weekend and do a bushwalk somewhere, and it'd kill me. I'd do a 12 kilometre. I'd be crawling back to the car. You know, just give me a wheelbarrow or something, get me to the car. Now, when I started, like getting through the walks was torture. It really. I'd get home and I can't move. I need to get in a bathtub and, you know, loosen the joints, and that was me. I couldn't move. I couldn't barely finish the walks. And it got to a point where I was okay. I was keeping up with my mate when he was walking, because he was a good bushwalker and he could just leave me for dead. You know, he'd just take off into the distance. Eventually, he got sick of waiting for me, and he'd just take off. So it became necessary for me to try to keep up with him. In doing that, I was dropping like 500 grams, half a kilo a week, and that's enough. Right, half a kilo a week is plenty. If you're doing that a day, you're probably starving yourself. Okay, you're probably doing something really wrong if you're doing that, because what will happen is there's a cost. You will pay the price in something else. Your body will reject what you're doing to it. You've got to work within your limits. You've got to work within what you can do within you. Now, I had an aneurysm burst in my brain. So everything I do is governed by this coil and stent that's in my head. If I push too hard, I can get another one anywhere. Gone. I've got to work within me, which means I'm conscious of when I feel thirsty. If I'm thirsty, I go drink some water. If I'm hungry, I eat something like a sandwich that I brought with me that I know what's in it. You make choices. You make real choices. And here's one. Let me show you this choice. 35-cent coffee. You heard me. It was $3. $3 a pack. I got them back at $3 a pack. So this one's a 35. It's 5 cents to boil the kettle, 30 cents for the coffee. Cheers. Oh, it's such a nice coffee. This is my treat. I have one of these a day. One. That's my treat. If I want to have a coffee, that's what I have. I don't go to the shop and buy it. If I buy one, I buy something that's a skinny decaf. And I don't enjoy it anywhere near as much as I enjoy that. And it cost me a lot more. It cost me like $5 to get what I can get here, which tastes better for 35 cents. Why would you bother going anywhere else? I can actually put that in my travel cup. I've got this beautiful travel cup that I bought, and I can take it with me. So people sit down and have a coffee, and I'll get my travel cup. Thanks for that. And I'll just ask for, I'll leave a tip on the table. I don't waste their time, but I have my coffee. And I just explain to them that it's medical, right? There's nothing against you guys, nothing against your coffee, but this is medical. That's what it is. And they for the most part, understand. And maybe I'll get a piece of raisin toast or something if I have to. But I don't. I normally just sit there and drink my coffee out of my cup. So, let's get back to weight loss. I'm going to pause the video. We're going to do a montage of what it looks like to go from 112 down to 102. Alright, so we're going to do that right here. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to take a video of me putting a dart in a set of drill pants with just a needle and thread. I'm just going to do it by hand so that I can wear my pants and they're not going to fall down around my backside. So let's get into that. I'll put the montage in and then I'll cut to the other video and we'll call it done. And this is my weight loss update at 102 kilograms, which is where I am. I'm exactly 102, exactly right on it, 102.0000 is what the scale says. I'm exactly 102 kilograms. And things are a bit raw. I might get a bit emotional somewhere, but look, you guys, you're going to have to live with that because, if I think about mum, I think about mum. And there's no getting past how I feel. There's no getting past any of that. But life has to go on. We have to all move on. Alright, so I'm going to pause this here and I'll put the montage in and then we'll go across to the other video with me putting the pleat in the pants. Let's do that. Well, hi, welcome back. I don't know what's in focus here. Probably getting a good shot of my crotch right now. I don't know. The thing about this camera is I can't see the viewfinder. So what I've decided to do is run a dart in the waistband of this pair of pants to put a pleat. Now, there's a couple of things about doing this. You've got some symmetry going on in the front of the pants, see? And what you want to do is pick a spot where it's easy to keep the symmetry. So if you're going to put in a pleat, you want some kind of reference. Now what you can see on the inside is the start of the pocket. You see that? And on both sides there's a pocket. which, as you can see from the symmetry, maybe you can't see, but they're at actual different widths, different lengths. See that the distance from there to there is different from this distance. But the symmetry of the maker is such that there's a pleat already, or seam, across from the button. So they've already allowed for the crossover of the fly. So you don't have to worry about it. So what you want to do, if you're going to create this pleat, is use the pocket. And what that'll do is take 1/2 inch out of that side, and we're going to sew that, poof, 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 and then we're going to turn it over and sew that and put our pleat in. And then we'll go to the other side and we'll do exactly the same thing at the pocket. And we don't have to worry about the symmetry because the manufacturer's already taken care of that. And that'll take 1 inch out of the waistband, and maybe they won't fall down around my backside. So that's the plan. Now if you're going to do this properly, you should use pins. This is my sewing kit. Well, this is mine. I put this together over quite a few years. Leonie's contributed to it, but mostly the stuff that's in here is my stuff. Now I've gone out and bought all sorts of shit for this, including little bargain basement shit. One of the things I've got is a packet of pins. Can't go anywhere in a sewing kit without a packet of pins. Must have them. So what you can do is you can pin up your pleat real quick so that it doesn't move when you're trying to sew it. Because there's nothing worse than trying to sew or work on something that's moving around. So what you've got to do is you've got to work out which way you want your pleat to run. What I want is, I want it to run that way, right, with that fold towards the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin that right there, so it can't go anywhere. That's the inside pin. And I'm going to put a pin through the outside as well. So once I've made this decision, it stays made, doesn't move. Real quick, all I'm doing, using a pin to hang on to it. Could have done just one pin, but now what you can do, see how that's all scrunched over and out of alignment, is you can pull it where you need it to be so that your stitching aligns. Once you get the stitching aligned, you pin it. So there's the bottom. See how that waistband is aligned? And what I'm going to do with that is I'm chucking a pin through there, and I'm going to pin it the other way so it holds it where I need it to be with my stitches aligned. I'm going to do the same at the top. I'll chuck a pin it the other way, and then I can sew it with impunity. Can never have enough pins, right? There's no such thing as too many pins. That's just a tack pin. Now, the problem with tack pins, I have to tell you, whack, right? So you don't want to leave it like that. You want to try to get it focused through something. So put it at an angle, and then push it back. Now there's your seam. It's going to fight you. It doesn't want to do what you want it to do, but that's fine. You know what you want it to do. The point is, that seam's going to line up. And once you get to that point, you're away. And the tack pin has to go at an angle. Ow, got myself. Right, so on the inside I'm going to use a white thread, and on the outside I'm going to use a navy blue thread. Here's my navy blue, here's my white. Let's do this. This needle is already threaded with some black thread. No, I don't want black thread. I like this needle, works good. I also like this thing. It's called a needle threader. And why I like it is because my eyesight's shit. So I use the needle threader. Put it through the needle. And threading's a piece of piss because the needle thread is already through the needle. You just push your thread through the needle threader. I need some white cotton. Could have used grey cotton. I'm using white. Don't need a hell of a lot of it. You just need enough to get yourself going. It's probably enough. Make sure you use scissors. Right? Always use scissors. Cut your threads with scissors. Don't bite it off. Don't chew it off. Don't break it off. Use thread, because you always get a nice neat end on your cotton when you use your scissors. Through your threader, pull your threader back through your needle, just like that. We're threaded. Now I always tie the ends of my thread. I like the thought of having a nice good knot in the end of the thread. It's probably enough to do what I'm doing. I'm just going to stick the tip of it in there, and I'm going to really quickly just tie a good knot in the end of this. I like doubling the thread. I don't like single thread. I like double thread. I always have. When one thread breaks, there's another bit of thread there. And the way I do is I wrap it around my finger and roll it between my finger and my thumb. And then just pull. Just like that. And your thread gets a nice knot in the end of it. And you double check it. Make sure it's in there. As you can see, it is. And with that little tag there, I always come back in with the scissors and just neaten that up a little bit. Just enough to keep it nice and neat. Here's another tip. Put the lid back on your pins. Unless you're using a pin cushion, if you're using a packet of pins, always put the lid back on. Because at some point you're going to hit the table, hit the packet, and you'll be doing 500 pickup. And it ain't fun. Rightio, so what you want to do is you want to start at the bottom, work your way up. So you want to hide your entry point under the seam. So you come through, straight through, and leaving it tag on the back. Don't pull it all the way through. Leave your tag, get your fingers into it if you got to. Come back straight away, almost in the same spot. A little bit of jar of it, just enough to make it a good solid bite into the fabric. You don't have to kill it, you don't have to... Now this fabric of course is denim, so, or gabardine or whatever the hell it is, but it's pretty thick fabric. So getting your needle through is a bit of an issue, particularly near the head of that pin. So what I do is when I've got that, I use the fabric, I use the end of it. So I just push it with the fabric so I don't kill my hand. And I'll come back through there. There's the needle come through, see that? I've just used the end of the fabric. Once you got it through, you don't want this tangling. See how it wants to tangle? You don't want that. See how I've got the thread spread? put it up over the top, pull the needle through. Needle's got to come through there, right. Now, the first thing you've got to do is you've got to get rid of your tag. So your needle's through, there's your tag. There's your first stitch and your needle bit. And now your tag is hidden away. So what you do is you pick up under there, make sure your seams are lined up. Come in underneath, loop it up, come up through the fabric. I didn't get it. You got to get it. Loop it underneath that one. Again, using the fabric of the shorts to push, because it's pretty thick material. It's too far off. It's come through too far away. You want to come up as close to that seam as you can. See how far back that's coming out? That's too far off. You want to come off a lot tighter. There we are. Look at that. Right next to the seam. See that? Push it through using the fabric and you're away. And see how that wants to bunch up and make knots and all the bad things? You don't want it doing that. You want to try to keep it clean, keep it straight as you pull it through. Now that's actually tangled and twisted in the thread. See there? See how that's got a knot in it? It's got a little twist in it. That's really bad. We don't want that. Now I'm sure that there are people screaming at me right now. That's not how you do it, Sonny. That's how I do it, right? I just line everything up, get where I want to be, and then go for it. If you sit there and analyse the crap out of what you're trying to do, you'll never get it done. Now there you go. There's me. You can see what's happened. I've picked it up. I'm going to be pulling that through. And when you pull that down, that's going to pull that seam over and away you go. And you just loop it over and you go up that seam. Now if you've done that right, you should be able to keep those in a line. You should be able to remove that pin that goes back in the box, which I've currently got closed up, so it's not going anywhere at the moment. Those seams are beautifully aligned, as you can see. I'm going to pick it up again and I'm going to go all the way up there till I get to the top. Pick it up there, come using the fabric itself. See, I'm using the waistband as a pusher, so I'm not killing my fingers. So you pick up the waistband, use the fabric, get it through as tight as you can to the seam. Ow, comes straight through into my thumb then. You want it to come through into the seam. Sometimes it's going to do what it's going to do. Thread's going to do what a thread's going to do. Righto, so you get the idea. Now I'm just going to make my way all the way up to the top, doing that. Now some of you are saying, mate, don't you have a sewing machine? Well, yeah, I have one of them, but you know what? Sometimes it's satisfying to sit there and do this. And that's what I'm doing. Righto, so I'm not going to bore you with the details. I'm just going to keep doing this loop all the way up that seam. Don't want to come out. There it is. Now the trick is not to break your thread. Keep it nice and clean, keep it neat, and keep doing the same thing. See how that's going to come over and go and go and go and go and go until we hit the top. I don't know how much of this is being recorded, but this is what's going on. Keep looping it over, similar distance up the thing, push it through, pull the thread through. My fingers can't grip for shit. There we go. Grandma will be proud of me. Look at this. Okay, it's a nice neat stitch. Just keep going up that seam till you hit the top. Once you've hit the top, you turn it over and you come through with the navy thread. You line your seams up and you do exactly the same thing, right? Those seams are pretty well going to line up anyway. And you can see how much that's taken out. That's taken out a whole inch there. I'm going to take nearly 2 inches out of this waistband. Just putting that pleat in there and creating that pleat there. That's what it's going to look like when it's finished. It's going to have a pleat in it. So by creating that pleat, I've taken out nearly 2 inches from this waistband, which is basically what it needs to be. Stay with it. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to spare you the details and I'm going to show you the start of the blue one. Alright, so just bear with me. Okay guys, so I've hit the top of the seam. Right, I've removed the top pin. Now what I want to do is I want to come across the top here. Right, and you can see there's a black piece or a dark piece and a light piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that light piece together with this white thread. I'm going to go that way with the white piece and then go all the way through and finish it on the back. So the way I do that is the same lip stitch. This is about 5 minutes work to do this, you know, up here. You can see it's kind of a bit rough because I'm a bit rough, but you know, it's going to do the job. You can see there I've got my pleat going where I want it in a nice place. Now the navy one will come up there and it'll go along the dark one and it'll finish up here at the back. So that's the plan. Got to have a plan. Always got to have a plan, right? So you don't want this doing this. You don't want this pulling apart. So the way you keep it from pulling apart is you go through the white pieces and you pull them together. And you just keep going. Just like that. You pick up your white piece. Of course it helps to be able to see. I'm as blind as a bat. But anyway. You want them directly together. Directly. So it looks like that when you finish. So you go in underneath the white piece. Pick it up. Come out under the other side under the white piece. Now if you can see that, I've got the two white pieces. Pull it through, go to the next bit. Under the white piece, pick it up, pick up the other white piece. You've got to get the white piece. Pick up the white piece, pull it through. See how it's pulling that? It's going to look like that when I'm finished. It's going to be just one seam of white, just like that. Alright, that's enough of that. I'll show you the stop. Right, so hopefully this is recording. I don't know. Yeah, it's recording. So what I can show you is there. I've got it through to the end, and now all I need to do is line those seams up, bring it through to this one, and sew it off. So it's there. What I'm going to do is bring it back through. This will all be hidden, of course, at the back. Use the material to push it through again because I don't want to come through where I want it. There it is. See, it's coming through in the white stuff, which is good. That's what I want. So I've got two, and we're going to finish it by coming back inside just a little bit here. We want to pick up this outer. See how I'm picking up the outer piece? I'm trying to, it's not going through, but anyway, you get the idea. I want to pick up that outer piece and push that through, right through. Jiggling it a bit. I'm going to use the material so I can save my finger. I've got a good chance of getting my other finger, but I missed it There it is. And now you just finish it off on the inside of the waistband. Now if you wanted to, you could leave it at that. You could actually leave your pleat looking like that. But I don't want to. I want to come in with the navy next, line up those two seams, and away we'll go again. We don't need this pin anymore. It's had it. And you can see I've got myself a pleat right there. Not bad. I need to bring this up with the navy so it's invisible. It'll be behind anyway. It'll just be a pleat, and no one will ever know that it wasn't there to start with. Now in here you want to finish off. So what you can do, you can just use the inside of the seam here. See, I'm not going into the blue, I'm only going into the white. I'm going to tie this off. 1, 2, 3 rips around the needle. Through she comes. Bring it through, bring it out. And that's it. 3 wraps around it. Pull it through the loop. She's done. I use bugger all thread. Again, be tidy. And you're ready for the other side with that needle, if you want to use that needle. Now I'm just going to tidy that up a bit tighter. You've got to leave a little tag through it, because if you don't, your thread will unwind. So just use a little bit of common sense. Sharp scissors are a must. I've got very sharp scissors here. And that's it. And there's your pleat. Now what I'll do is I'll come up here with the dark thread, the navy thread, and along the black one. So that'll pull that black one together. Right? So I'll have a dark line going through there. So I'm doing exactly the same thing in the opposite direction. But what I might do is I might actually start the thread up here, come in from underneath this black thread, and come around this way, and then come down that pleat, finishing by going through at the bottom, coming out on this side. Okay? I'm not going to bore you with the details. I'm going to thread a needle and away I'll go. Maybe I can show you threading a needle one more time. Alright, so I'm not going to unthread that other one. I'm going to use a new needle. Yeah, that's easier said than done, I think. I've got one here somewhere. I've got lots of needles in this kit. Now this needle is actually thinner, right, than that needle. But I think that's what I want. I want it to be a nice thin needle. So we're going to thread this one up using our threader and using the navy. Righto, we're in the hole. Come on, come through, Mr. Threader. Now, the thing about these thin needles is you've got to pinch your threader together. And you've actually got to thread your threader. Like that. So my threader is through the eye of the needle. Now I can come in with the navy and put navy cotton through it. It's almost black, but it's navy. It's actually navy cotton. Interesting, isn't it? Okay, let's do it. Yeah, same amount of cotton. Don't need too much. Again, using your scissors. If you use scissors, you're always going to get a neat outcome. I've seen people gnaw it off with their teeth, and I've seen them just break it off, and you know, it's just not the way to do things. I like neat. Neat's good. I can't pick up this threader. I've got no fingernails left. Righto, and once more to thread this needle, all I do is push this through the eye of my threader, like that. I'm going to pull a bit more through here because I've got a narrower needle, and sometimes with narrower needles you need a bit more, but this one actually went pretty well. Pull him through, put your threader away for next time, you know where to find it. Put your needles. I'm finished with the cotton. I've still got some pins out. They're on my lid. I normally have a pin cushion, but I don't know what I've done with it. It's gone somewhere. See, I buy all sorts of kits. You know, like I bought this kit. It's a handy kit. You know, I bought this one, which was a travel kit. I bought this one, which was a kit. You know, I just buy shit. Throw it in here for when I might need it. Who knows when you're going to need it. So once again, we're going to tie this off. I like to tie a double knot. Just going to pop that into the fabric so I don't bloody stick myself with it. And we're going to put that between the finger and thumb the same way we did last time and trim it off with the scissors. So all I'm doing is I'm pinching it between my finger and my thumb. You wrap it around your finger and then you roll it thread. Just roll it like you're rolling it, you know, fag paper, I suppose. I've never rolled a cigarette paper in my life. Probably shows. And as you see when you pull it down, that's actually got a nice neat little tag right at the bottom. So what I can do is open this up, just double check it, make sure it's good. You can see that's a nice knot. It's got a nice little tag on the end of it. Comes right through to our needle. All good. I'm going to get started. I'm going to start at the other end and work my way down. So I'm starting up here at the top, coming through from the back here, picking up the dark material and bonding a knot. So I'm bound to the, you just got to bind to the fabric. That's the first thing you need to do, is bind yourself to the job. Once you're bound, you can do whatever you like. So you can see there, that's just going through to the knot. That's bound to the job. Now as I come through, I'll pick up that tag and pull it down into the seam. So we're going to go through there. Oh gee, that's a lot sharper and a lot easier to go through. It's not as thick a needle. So this should go a lot easier, theoretically. Righto, you can see my tag there. I want to make sure I pick that up and bring it down onto the black or the dark. Gee, look at that, goes straight through. So that's using the thinner needle. I used that thicker needle the first time. It was probably too thick for this job. Righto, so now I've got that tag all sorted. I'm going through one more time here, just in this dark spot. It goes through like a bloody hot knife through butter. It's a very, very sharp needle. Right, pick up the edge, go to the next one. I don't know how much of this you guys can see. Hopefully you can see all of it. So I'm going to pick that dark bit up, come through, just like that. And away we go. You want to make sure you don't tangle as you go. If you tangle, you've got an awful mess on your hands, and life's not good when you tangle. Righto, so I'm picking up the dark cloth, coming out on the dark cloth, and pulling the thread together. Right, pick up the dark cloth, come out on the dark cloth, pull it together. Now this will bind to the job from up here, not from where it's actually putting stress. So because it's bound to the job up there, there's no actual stress on any of these points in the thread. See that? And you'll be able to put your seam in almost invisibly. So that was a good place to start this job. And pick up the dark thread only, come out. You don't want to rush this, you know, you want to take your time, make sure you do it, you know, as good as you can do it. After you're going to be bloody wearing this, and if it looks like a mess, you know, then you created it. You don't want to look like a bloody mess. Righto, so that's that. Now what I'm going to do is turn this job around and pick it up from this side, because it's easier to hit the dark cloth on this side. See that? Come into that, just like that. Now you've got to be very careful that you don't break the head off, sorry, the eye off the needle, because with these needles they can snap. They're quite brittle. Now that's extremely sharp, that needle. It's going through there like a hot knife through butter. And I'm at the job, right? I'm right at the job. So now what I'm going to do is come through the job from the back and give myself a good binding point to start the seam. And I'm going to go back through right to the back, the same point where I finished off the white one. I'm at that same point. I'm binding the two seams to the same binding point at the back here. See that? And I've come through on the existing seam, so it's not that apparent that I've done it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to work our way down there till we get to the bottom, and then we're going to come through and we're going to hide the bottom piece, right? That's what we're going to do. Now there's two schools of thought as to whether you should go through that bottom piece as well. I don't. I leave it the way it is, because you don't need to, because you've got your pleat. Your pleat's already there. See that? I've got a pleat in the shorts. By pleating that, I've taken an inch out of the waistband. I'm going to repeat this on the other side, so if you guys are bored now, think of how you're going to be if I film all of that. I'm going to stop this and I'm going to show you the completed job next. Alright. Righto, so we're at the bottom of the seam. We're on the wrong side of the piece. I don't know where the hell I've done with my needle. It's gone somewhere. It's gone down this way. Righto, and we're on the wrong side. So what we now do is we're going to finish it off. And what we do to finish it off is we come in underneath that seam, push it through. And now we're where we want to be so that we can knock the thing off and finish. Now what you can do is you can put a dirty great big knot there if you want to, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to come in behind this pick it up mildly lightly, just there like that, into the navy. So you can see that disappeared into that seam. We're in the navy behind, and we're going to pick it up here. We're going to put a couple of passes through the back of the stitch. Oh goodness me, I'm making a tangle. You don't want to make a tangle. See that? That's a tangle. You don't want to make that. You want to push that through. It's actually good enough that we can finish. So what we're doing is we're pulling through on this one. So see how that side's disappearing, the one closest to you. So what you do is you come the one furthest from you, 3 wraps, 1, 2, 3, pull it through, right through, keep pulling till it comes tight. And it's all tucked up underneath the hem of that seam. Nice and tight, it's not going to go anywhere. Using your scissors, flush with the hem, and you're done. And that's ready for the other side. I've got my 2 needles, and I've got my pleat. There you go. See there? See how it's worked onto that pocket? So all I've got to do now is put another one on the other side, in exactly the same spot, on the pocket. And I've taken 2 inches out of that waistband. And that'll make them nice and tight. I'll have a pleated pair of pants instead of just a plain old straight pair of pants. And these are work pants, right? These are work duds, these aren't wearing out. But I need work duds. And I like work duds. So I'll put another pleat over here, same spot, on the pocket. And that's how they're going to look. And you can see how much that pulls it in, nearly an inch. And they're not going to fall down, that's for sure. But you've got to put it in the same spot as you put the last one. So you've got to measure it up. Same place. Right there. Using your pins. Once you've worked out where you're putting things, got to keep them there. Grab a pin, pin it up. Back through. Just want to have a quick look just to see how that looks. There's some symmetry. Remembering these are only work pants, but I think there's some symmetry there. It's going to come out where I want them. See that? I'm going to get some symmetry. Well, it's going to be good with that. I'm happy. Put your keeper pins in. Seams are lined up, away you go. It's going to come, this is actually going to be in my road this time, this little label, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to treat those as part of that piece of fabric there. So that's just going to stay right where it is. I'm going to make another effort to put this bottom piece in. You don't ever want to drop a pin on the floor, particularly if you're wearing bare feet. And come out there. See how my seams are lined up? I'm going to run this exactly the same way as I ran the last one, across the top, back down the dark stuff. Life's good. I'm going to end up with 2 pleats, just like that. And I've taken an inch out of that waistband. And hopefully they won't fall down around my backside. Okay, that's it. Righto folks, so here I am at the end of it. 2 pleats. 2 inches out of the waistband. An inch that side, because that's half an inch. It's half an inch. So we've taken 2 inches out of that waistband. I've got a pair of work pants. 2 pleats in them. And all it remains is to see how they fit. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of that. How to do it properly. Sounds like a plan. Cheers, guys. Oh, here I am, modelling my pants. You can see here, pleats are in. They're not falling down around my backside anymore. I've taken 2 inches out of that waistband. Pretty happy with it. Got another decent pair of work pants. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching. Righto, so welcome back. It's really hot. I'm covered in sweat and sawdust from another project. I've got my work pants on. Listen, I've got to make some apologies about this video. I've been watching playback and the whole first thing of me stitching up the seams is actually out of shot, and you know, I've just got to apologise for that. I'm not a photographer. The problem I've got is I use this camera here, and as you can see, the viewfinder's on the back, so if you're in front of it, you got no idea what it's focused on. I don't know. I'm just making do with what I got. Don't have a lot of money, but that is actually a really good camera if you're behind it. And you can see what the hell's going on. I can shoot with the iPhone. I've got one of them. Except that I can't. Every time I shoot with the iPhone, it goes all to shit. So I got the Canon out. You know, I can shoot the entire shot, the entire thing that I'm doing on that. I've just got to make sure that the focus is right, that it's got the job inside the shot. And of course I thought I had it inside the shot. Then for some reason I thought it was on my crotch, and I went and moved it, and suddenly the job was out of shot. I am, you know, not thinking clearly. So I apologise for the quality of the cinematography. The job itself went really well because I'm wearing the shorts. Here they are. You can see I ended up taking an inch out on either side with these 2 pleats. Right? There's half an inch folded over. So if you take half an inch in the fold, you get 1 inch. So if I take an inch that side, an inch that side, I get 2 inches. 2 inches out of the waistband. And they're not showing a plumber's crack. They're sitting beautifully. So it was just a guess, but it was a pretty good one. The point is, if I can do this, anyone can do it. I could have gone out and bought myself a new pair of shorts. I would have ended up at the op shop and probably spent $10, $15, $20. But $10 runs Zoomy for 2 weeks, you know. So there's getting around for 2 weeks in $10. So I didn't go to the op shop and spend $10 on a pair of shorts. I spent 35 cents on a bit of thread and a bit of time, and got myself a decent pair of work shorts. At the moment they're covered in sawdust. I've been sanding the violin. I've probably dropped about another kilo in sweat, but I'll put that back on when you've got to rehydrate. You can't. The wind has come up, it's blown all the clouds out, but the humidity's come up, and it's just a really hot day out there. And there's very little respite from the heat. So we're getting into it with the violin while the sun's out, because I think we're going to get a couple more days of rain, and I've got to get this violin sanded back. So I'm not mucking around. I'm going back out on the balcony in a minute to continue sanding and working on the violin project. But I want to wrap this up by saying that this was an update on weight loss, and the consequence of it was, you know, I've got 3 or 4 pair of shorts in there, which are actually really good shorts. I like them. And I don't want to have to replace them because they got a really, you know, they fit me when I was 112 kilos. So I can put a simple pleat in the front of the waistband, pull them in 2 inches, and they sit beautifully. And you get a really nice pleat in the front, and away you go. You just keep wearing them. And that saves me, well, I know that I paid $35 for these shorts that I got on 8 years ago, and I've always worn them. I've got a lot of use out of them, and I've got 3 or 4 other pair of shorts in there that are exactly the same, that fit me when I'm 112 kilos. They're comfortable, they've got deep pockets, they've got a pocket for everything. Love them, and I don't want to have to chuck them out just because I've dropped the weight. So I'm going to pleat them and continue to wear them, and they'll fit me like a glove. I'll be able to wear them without a belt. Just put them on, pull them up the fly, off you go. I can put a belt on these again if I need to, so I can continue to wear them as I drop even more weight. Alright, so that's the end of this. I want to thank you for watching, and thank you for being so understanding. Again, sorry about the cinematography. I want you all to make good decisions and do good things and keep on swinging. And I'll see you at the next video.